Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather and this is Create Your Own Cozy. It seems ironic because tonight I am sitting in my Create room and I had been working super hard today to get this project finished and am all settled now and I'm ready to get cozy. So just wanted to kind of introduce this week's video to you. I am redoing a dining room set for a friend of mine who happens to be the daughter of an amazing couple. Shout out to Dave and Mary Gay, who really invested in my husband and I's marriage before we got married and the first critical years of just trying to figure out how to do this stuff. Anyway, this dining room set was their first dining room set when they got married, and then they gave it to their daughter, and their daughter had it in her house for 20 years and is ready to update it. So it was kind of fun to work on this project. There was some water damage on the top. It was superficial water damage is what I'm going to call it, because it was on top of the laminate piece of wood that was on the table and it was able to be sanded out. I had to make some adjustments with some of the discoloration from the water that happened after I resanded it, just because it makes that part kind of expand a little bit more than the rest of it. So finally he's settled. So it's not the same as like a deep water damage. That would be a different video where your laminate covering is kind of curling up. This wasn't curling at all. It was just discolored. So I had room where I could sand down the top and restain it. This project is a two-toned piece with the stain color on the top, the black paint on the bottom and on the chairs. And coming up either in another video, have not finished this part of it yet, there's a big old hutch that I'm going to be doing too, where we're going to be keeping all horizontal surfaces the wood color, and all vertical surfaces will be the black. So I'm really excited for you to see this piece. It's been taking up some space in my garage and I'm kind of excited to get that cleared out and get it back to her. One of the things is I don't have the hardware to put the table back together because we took it apart to bring it over to my house. So I've kind of staged it carefully in my driveway. Also, she is going to be recovering the cushions. So unfortunately right now I don't have a finished photo with the cushions recovered. But if you follow me over on Instagram, when she does finish that, I will make sure she gets some final photos in her dining room with the chair covers, and I will post that on Instagram as soon as that is done so you can see the final product. So I am really excited for this week's video, and I would like to say to all my new subscribers, welcome. I am so excited that my little channel is growing. And I would love to hear what you think of this project. Let me know if there's, like, what would you have done to this project? And does it inspire you to tackle some of those old things, those old pieces that maybe mean a lot to you but aren't necessarily your style? And maybe you can look at them a little different. So I don't think I introduced Henry because he wasn't here when I started, but this is my buddy. He's going to be cozy with me now that our work is done. Here's your bubba. Oh, he's mad. He wants to lay down. Okay, let me put my legs out. You're a sweet boy. So thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you again next week. So let's get started with these chairs. First step is to remove the chair cushions, and my client is going to actually recover those. But as you can see, these chairs used to have these old looking tops on them, and she was having her floors redone and had the guys just cut them off. So I am going around with 80 grit sandpaper and just kind of rounding the edges and sanding the top to make it look like it had always been this way. The next step I'm going to do is use Crud Cutter. This is something that you just spray on the furniture and wipe it off, no rinsing required. And it removes oils from food, from your hands, from 40 plus years of use. So it was a necessary step to make sure that the paint would consistently stick to this very loved set of furniture. Next, I'm going to spray paint 2 solid coats and go back for the 3rd coat to get any spots that I missed with this Rust-Oleum spray paint. The reason I am using spray paint on chairs is to save on labor. They take so much longer than you think they will with all the spindles and such. So 2.5 coats of black and then 2 coats of a clear coat to give it more protection. After that, I am using steel wool and the 0000 grit and just kind of buffing the sheen off of that top coat. And if it went down to the brown color, I allowed it. And here's why. This piece is going to turn into a 2-tone piece, and the slickness and type of wood on some of these edges, it's just going to naturally wear. So I would rather do it like it's on purpose so that when it naturally wears, it looks like it's supposed to be this way. So the bases also get 2 coats, 2.5 coats of this black and then 2 coats of clear for protection. And the steel wool will also be used on this to buff it down and make sure that it's consistent with the chairs. Starting upside down and then flipping it over, and you can see the spaces that were missed. But this is a great way, if you start upside down, you can see if there's any drips and attend to them while you can still do something about it. It's easier to attend to drips when the paint is still wet than afterward. It can be solved both ways, but this is just to make it easier on yourself. Next, let's get started on this water damage. I am taking 80 grit sandpaper and just kind of testing it out. See kind of how deep this goes. And I am not going to get away with just lightly sanding this. I'm going to have to take it all the way down to where the color is no longer there. So I'm going to use a little bit more strength behind my 80 grit and take it all the way down to the color and keep rubbing my hand across it to make sure, especially where the stain is, that is a nice smooth surface. And after I do the 80 grit, I will do 220 grit sandpaper just to get a totally smooth surface so it'll take the next product very well. Next comes the stain. And I am kind of moving slowly with this process as well, because I'm not really sure how thirsty this wood is, and it is a very thirsty, which means that stain is just soaking up in it. Hindsight, I wish I would have put wood conditioner on it. Wood conditioner would have been like, say you have dry skin on your arms and you put lotion on your arms. It kind of just holds the moisture there. Same thing with the wood. It would have held the moisture there and not had the stain soak in so much. So I wish I would have done that. I don't know that it would change the outcome that much, because it turns out with the water damage that was there, I needed to stain a little darker than I thought it was going to have to, because you were seeing the places where the water was soak up more of the dark and the places where the water was not less, and you could kind of still see them slightly. So I stained it dark enough to minimize that. After all the stain is done, I took a dry paper towel and just got any excess off and let it dry. And then next it was time for the top coat. I am using this product for the first time, and quite honestly, I would not recommend this product. But I've never used it, and when you're used to things, kind of get used to your ways. But I'm going to show it to you anyway. This is a polyurethane and is going on slightly blue to show you where it's still wet and it dries clear. I poured it into a bowl just so that your brush that's going to get stained on it does not get into your main container. There are types out there that are self-leveling, which means that you can see these streaks right here, which translates to brush strokes, but this is not a self-leveling product, and I could not find my Spar polyurethane with the matte finish that I wanted, and I just bought this, and I wish I hadn't. Anyway, I'm showing you anyway. So I'm using the fine grit steel wool, and that is just like a powder that you're seeing on the top that dusts right off. So here's a close-up, and you can still see those brush marks, and that did not work for me. So I moved to the clear top coat spray paint. It's going to cost you a little bit more, but the finish is so much better. And do you guys find watching this very relaxing? Let me know in the comments below. So I'm going to do 4 coats of this top coat. Do a coat, steel wool it, do a coat, steel wool it. 4 different times. This is a table with heat and food and moisture and cleaned often. So this will protect it well. And then this next shot will show you, look at that sheen. No brush marks. That looks good. Now we're moving on to the table apron. I am using my very favorite farmhouse paints. And it's because I can't spray paint here because of the two-toneness. I'm going to be doing the same thing on the hutch, so it was worth buying the paint for this. The thing that I like about this paint is it is top coat included. So I am going to do 2 coats by hand and a 3rd coat on some of the areas, some of those round areas that needed a little bit more. And then at the end, I'm going to use steel wool to kind of buff it, and it gives it a little sheen. And when you get to that sheen point, that kind of activates this paint to kind of have this protective layer, and it will cure as if it's been waxed. So this is why I love this paint. One application, you're buffing it on. It's just a gorgeous finish. So here is the end product. Keep in mind, I don't have any seat cushions for my staging. So if you want to see that, I will get a picture from her and post it on my Instagram page. Follow me at Create Your Own Cozy. But let me know what you think of the final product. This is staged in my driveway, and I think it turned out pretty great.